Steamians, Dan at Starlight here. So last night I went to bed a little bit early and I laid in bed for about an hour, and then all of a sudden my body went into sleep paralysis, which means I'm still fully conscious. I'm not asleep, but I can't move my body. And if it's never happened to you, it's freaking scary. And I know that it usually leads into these hypnagogic hallucinations. So I was trying to break out of this sleep paralysis, and I you're trying with all your might to break out of it, and I did, and I got up on the side of the bed and I vomited all over the room. And then I was like, oh no, this is crazy. And then I went up and I went to turn the light on, and guess what? The light didn't turn on. And I was like, oh, this is a hypnagogic hallucination. I'm in one of these things again. And what happened next? Oh yeah, so, and then I realized, once I realized that, I slowly fade back into this sleep paralysis that I'm in, right? And, I break out and I'm like, oh, I broke out of it. I was like, thank goodness that was just a hypnagogic hallucination. So I got up and I went to the bathroom, and on my way to the bathroom, I hit the light switch and the lights didn't turn on. And I'm like, I'm still in it. And I was like, and then I remembered back to when these things happened more recently. Because when I was growing up, these things happened all the time. And I know not very many people get them. Maybe I think it's about like 5% of the population. And I've met a lot of people who have, because I have them. So I'm interested in finding people who have had this similar wacky, crazy experience. And, a lot of people think that they've been abducted by aliens or something like that, because it's so crazy when it's, we put this nice little scientific label on it, hypnagogic hallucination. And it's really hard to explain if you've never had it, but it's not dreaming. You are fully aware like you are in real life. And also, it's not like lucid dreaming, which I've also done. I had to figure out how to lucid dream because I wanted to know if these were the same thing, and they're not. Lucid dreaming is you're in a dream. You're in a dream, and you're consciously being able to control what happens. But this is indistinguishable from real life. You think you are living it, awake and everything. And for me, it almost always takes place from getting out of my bed. That's why it's so confusing. So last night, again, I hit the light switch and I remembered, oh yeah, I'm here and I don't need to be afraid of this state. I'm not dying. I'm going to explore. I'm going to see how far I can get. That was my mantra when I used to have these things. After I met somebody who had them, and it was like, no, man, explore these things. You can do crazy stuff in this state. So I was like, okay, my mantra, how far can I get? How far can I get? So I decided to go outside. And so I ran up the stairs in my apartment and got outside, and it was still nighttime, and I was on my balcony or porch or whatever you call it, and I jumped and I started to fly, and I flew over the neighborhood, and there were firecrackers going off, and then slowly, because this thing doesn't last forever, that's why I'm trying to see how far I can get, because there's generally a time limit on how long you can stay in this state. And then I slowly faded back into the sleep paralysis, which is never fun. It's always kind of scary. You're like, is this ever going to end? And you kind of fight, and then this time I woke up and I was like, turned on the light switch and the lights turned on. It's funny how that is. That's an actual legit thing, that light switches don't work. It's really weird. Someone pointed that out to me one time, and then I started using it as a test, and I don't know it's whether they pointed it out to me, that it was an idea in my mind that made it so, or whether it's just a legit thing about this state for everybody. So yeah. So anyways, I woke up and I know I can't just go back to sleep. If I go back to sleep, it'll probably happen again. This state is always induced right on sort of the border of sleep. So it's like instead of your body going to sleep, it goes into this paralysis and then this hypnagogic hallucination instead. And I have to tell you, like compared to, like drug trips or like psychedelics or, dreams or any other weird kind of state, like this trumps them all. Like this is this is a crazy experience. But the thing that struck me as really, really fascinating this time, considering I've been, paying attention to the simulation hypothesis recently, is just how indistinguishable this experience is from real life. It's just, it's absolutely indistinguishable, which means it is so possible that our brain can construct this reality in a way that is 100% convincing that it is reality. So I got out of bed and I just drank some tea because I had to sort of reprogram my circadian rhythm so I could fall asleep without it happening again. And I just pondered this, how crazy it is, because I don't get these things that often anymore. It's just because of how drastically a routine change I've been going through in the last couple of weeks. But anyways, so life's insane, life's crazy. It's these things that just remind me how insane reality is. And it's maybe my life and my views on spirituality are so different because I did go through something like this. I have experienced this weird kind of stuff. It's like the first time I did mushrooms, it was like it changed my life forever. It's like I can never go back to not having that experience, and that experience forever has opened up how I see the world, right? Like how crazy life is. Anyways, hypnagogic hallucinations. You don't believe me? Look them up. Although I think a lot of the articles are written by people who deal with people who have them and not people who have them, because they're not exactly the same across the board. But I don't know. Weird stuff, man. Dan and Starlight, peace out.